Dear Rentals Club members, today I'm with David Cross. He's the co-founder of Rent Responsibly. We'll see together what this initiative is about, because it's just not about helping short-term rentals, interact with local authorities and get together and really be able to influence the future, basically. It's also about technology, about a person's really path into industry. So we'll be talking about mission, passion, about their upcoming conference. So we have a lot to cover. David, hello, how are you?
I'm doing great, doing great. Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. It's really a pleasure. And as I said, obviously, you are the co-founder of Rent Responsibly, and as people can see probably on your hoodie and in the caps behind you, it's pretty fantastic. So, what is Rent Responsibly? What are you guys solving for?
Great question. Well, we are a community building and education platform for local short-term rental alliances. So that may not be completely clear to everybody, but let me tell you what the problem we're solving for is. And it's a personal problem, and I'm very passionate about it. So if I start kind of using my hands to do some of the talking for me, that's normal for me. So fundamentally, there's a vacuum in our space. Hosts on a local level, hosts, managers, and even other small business stakeholders have trouble connecting and finding each other, right? It's easier to find guests than it is to find other hosts, owners, and managers in your community. So we're bridging that gap through building a platform that all owners, hosts, and managers at a local level can join and then build community. And ultimately, we provide education through that platform that people need to be successful. That is fundamentally what we're doing.
And so obviously, I love the industry. You love the industry as well. And the thing we always, want to talk about is like welcoming guests, guest experience, pricing, kind of thing like this. But obviously, regulations are very important, right? And we know that there's no way people can, dance around them, ignore them, because it's really part of our environment. So it's a very key topic. But why did you pick this topic? How did you become involved in co-founding Rent Responsibly?
That's a great question. I think maybe a little bit of biography here, a little history might help. So as a host in Dallas, starting in 2013, 2014, I fell in love, right? I loved hosting. I loved meeting people. It gave me the opportunity to be the entrepreneur that I always was, but didn't know how to find my way to that, self-reliance, right? And that was ultimately the story many people have. But what we don't have is the ability to effectively control our own future, or to speak for ourselves in a more broad sense as a community. And as I was early hosting days, I had one incident where somebody had a party at my rental, and that led me to want to build a solution to that noise nuisance issue. That led to NoiseAware. NoiseAware led to meeting tens of thousands of hosts. And these themes emerged, right? As the world over 2015 to 2020 or so really was getting more aware of the mainstreaming of short-term vacation rentals, this adjustment period was, people were looking for solutions, looking for the rules of the road that would help us get there. And ultimately, the themes that Rent Responsibly is built on is collaborate, educate, and celebrate. If you do all of those things well, that is effectively advocacy. But advocacy is not something anybody wants to do year round. I mean, advocacy is when you're trying to advocate for something and there's, two sides to the argument. I don't believe that that's going to be the way our space is forever. The rules of the road will get settled, but they get settled when we as a community look at ourselves and say, we need to collaborate with each other. One, we need to collaborate with the other businesses and educators and service providers. And that requires a platform, right? A common space where you can do that. And that's where you can find that education. You can find the rules that exist today. If everybody already knew how to operate appropriately professionally, a lot of these problems would go away in the first place. And to be honest, that's what the world wants from us. They want us to educate ourselves. And then lastly is celebrate. Rent Responsibly actually started by producing stories called Humans of Short-Term Rentals. People don't understand what we as the hosting community do and the value we bring and the jobs and the economics and the just the trend lines of where the world is going. The world wants to stay in short-term rentals, so we have to find that balance. And ultimately, Rent Responsibly is the platform where hosts can find each other, they can collaborate. We produce high quality education, not just what you need to do to be in good standing, but also professionalization, all these other questions that people have. We do a ton of surveys and then just produce the education materials people need. And what we're seeing is that people respect hosting, and municipalities want this higher quality, elevated operation. And so I'm a passionate, strong believer that the vacation rental, short-term rental owners, host, and manager community is the highest concentration of innovators, doers, community-oriented people the world has ever seen. We just are disconnected. We're fragmented. So when we come together, I think the value prop just expands. And as a leader of Rent Responsibly, I'm leading that mission, and it's working. Honestly, people are responding really well to it.
And David, question for me is as well, listening to you, is that obviously I know another actor in the industry who's also trying to get together hosts and mobilize them. Say Airbnb, right? Is also they're very good in a way at doing this, right? But I do think sometimes, and they're doing a good job, right, for their own company. But I'm guessing if your municipality finds out that actually behind some actions, it's actually Airbnb versus a group of, an alliance of hosts of short-term rental owners, I'm guessing the perception is a bit different, right? Is it also enabling people to be their own voice in a way, I'm guessing?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question. And we work with a lot of different organizations. The fundamental reality, and this might be a more US-based system, is that when advocacy or community building happens, you have to start at the local level, right? So Airbnb is not built to kind of focus on local level. They have to build a platform that works everywhere. What we know, and what I know, because when I was in Dallas, I started the Dallas Short-Term Rental Alliance. My co-founder, Alexa, started the Chapel Hill Short-Term Rental Alliance. People need to understand they need to be in their own community to really have those conversations. And it's not a problem to be solved. It is actually an opportunity for all of us to get together. Because when we get together as a community, we're innovators, we're solution builders, we're technology builders, and these problems can get self-corrected a lot faster when we're working on them and focused on them at a local level, and you have the local stakeholders who understand what's going on. And I'm a firm believer that this is a welcoming industry. So everybody needs to collaborate. Nobody's excluded, but it really happens at the local level.
Really love what you're saying about the importance of local level, right? Also, something you said a bit earlier about, if you're an owner or a host, it's kind of your job to be educated, right, as well, but what's happening, but it's could be daunting, right? Because regulations, there's so many of them, they can change. So let's say with Rent Responsibly, what kind of tools or programs are you developing to help hosts, find each other or get education?
Sure. So first and foremost, as a community building and education platform, we have to be good at building communities. And what we do is we empower local leaders to lead their own communities. We just help them find the other hosts in the area. So my co-founder, Alexa, when she started her Chapel Hill Short-Term Rental Alliance, it took her 40 hours, 40, to just set up all the, MailChimp and the website and all these things. It's a lot of work, but it doesn't need to be unique and completely hard, heavy lift. And a lot of people get burnt out before they get started. So we've reduced that to 4 hours. So fundamentally, we're making it easy to build local short-term rental communities, alliances, et cetera. Number two is we're building high-grade professional education for those people. most people, you hear this good apple, bad apple, good actor, bad actor. It's very blurry, and most people who are quote unquote not doing the right thing aren't aware of what the right thing to do is with respect to getting in good standing and registration. We've done a lot of surveys, and most people I thought I was doing it right. I just needed the roadmap to get there. And so we're helping push that. I mean, I could go on and on about on the education side, but fundamentally people need a central place where on a local level they can find what they need to know. And the last piece that we're building is a megaphone. We need to celebrate the people and the output and the value of what we're doing. And so that happens, the more we do this, the bigger the megaphone gets. And this narrative was built early on about vacation rentals, short-term rentals not being additive to communities, extractive, all this couldn't be further from the truth. My personal experience was completely different. I had great relationships with my neighbors, and I fundamentally was more on top of the game, adding more value. Now we're really doing that at a scale and making it possible and easy. Fundamentally, these things shouldn't be hard. They shouldn't be hard. So we're making them easier.
I'm building up a bit on the megaphone thing you talked about, because obviously, in order to be heard or in order to improve what you're doing, make it bigger, you are also relying on some partners, right? I think you just released, I think, a couple of days back, the list of your new partners for the year. Can you maybe give us a few names and why these people are important?
Yeah, so thank you for asking. I mean, we are, people ask, how does Rent Responsibly run? So we're partner supported. So Verbo, Key Data, Breezeway, NoiseAware, Proper, AJL Raincatcher, Avalara, D-Travel, Operto, Wheelhouse. Those are our 2022 partner class. What we do with them is we collaborate with them too, right? Collaborate is what we do. And we do collaborate with other organizations in different ways, but these are the folks that are in the trenches with us, helping to build the education, helping to grow the communities that we're supporting. And then lastly, as we'll talk about, I'm sure, we have an event coming up. And so these folks help us put on events, and they're really focused again on our mission, community building and education. And I mean, as NoiseAware was one of the partners, one of our first partners, this is what I was trying to build while I was at NoiseAware. And you had all these companies that, how do I help? How do I help? How do I get involved? I want to support these customers or these other people. And so we're just building an easier way to do that at the local level. Yeah,
I like this point as well you just mentioned, because in a way, as we know, if we run a property management company, part of our life is online. We're trying to get bookings from our website, from Instagram, Airbnb, and the rest, right? And most of the life, though, it's offline. Welcoming guests, dealing with cleaning, hiring people, right? But that's what you're doing with your alliances, right? You get people together online, so they also can meet up, I guess, offline, do things. And again, that's what you're doing here. You have these partners helping you build education online, but you have this offline event coming up, right? I think you have a conference that's going to take place in July. Can you alluded to that? Can you tell way more about the conference? So where is it? When does it take place? What's happening? Why should I go?
Well, first of all, you'll be happy to know, because I know you're not in the States right now. It is virtual. It is not a live conference. It is, or in-person conference. It's virtual, and that's fundamentally so important to us, because this needs to be accessible to everybody. And so creating a digital space for it. So we're using the Zoom events, which really creates a conference-like atmosphere. But if you'll indulge me, I'll tell you about what this conference is about. So it's the Rent Responsibly Summit. We're going to be doing this 4 times a year in different various formats. And we've brought all of our partners and a bunch of other organizations and speakers to speak. So there are 20 sessions, and you can kind of come and go. It's over 2 days, July 12th and 13th. And we've created playlists. So there are different tracks for different people, and you don't need to be there live to absorb all of it. Sign up, register, you'll get the videos as well. That's key. But I'm going to tell you, and I told you I have my playlist cheat sheet right here. So here's why you should register for the event. Number one, what's not talked about a lot are well-being, right? We are hustlers, we are hard workers in this space, but we sometimes forget to take care of ourselves. So on our well-being track, we have, and also it's the well-being of the community, sustainability with Bob Garner, inclusivity with Robert Geller of Fab Stays, accessibility, right? How are we properly advertising for folks that need that information with Lorraine Woodward of Becoming Rentable, fantastic lady. And then lastly, from burnout to balance, radical self-care, right? This is stuff I wish I had had when I was burning both ends of the candle. And that's what Samantha Skelly of Pause Breathwork. We also have a track for new owners, first-time STR owners, and new hosts with Noiseware, Avalara, Proper Insurance, Verbo, and Key Data. I know you have a lot of experienced hosts and managers in your audience, so we have a track for those folks. And it's dynamic pricing with Andrew Kitchell of Wheelhouse. We have guest experience with Steve Davis of Operto, safety with Justin Ford, financial hygiene. We don't talk about that enough either. So we have a track with AJ Atelier and Raincatcher, the new outfit with Simon. That's Maria DiCarlo and Jason Thomas. And then lastly, direct bookings. Do you know much about D-Travel, Web3, how crypto is kind of, we hear a lot about crypto, but how is it interfacing with our space? So we have a D-Travel session there. And lastly, as we kind of started off, advocacy and regulations. It's the number one question we get, right? Number one question. So we're addressing that with education. That's what we do. Regulations 101 with Noah Stewart from Expedia. Top 10 advocacy resources with our very own Dana and Alexa. And lastly, we have a crystal ball session where we're getting some founders together who say, 5 years ago, many of us said, what do we want this space to look like? So we're going to do that again and say, what is this space going to look like in 5 years?
That's fantastic. What a program. And again, so it's obviously free to attend.
It's free. Yep.
It's online. It's free. For people who would love to see the recording, is there any recording happening, anything, or do I have to attend live? Just curious.
No, it's all recorded. So you just got to register, right? I think we all, something comes up, you can't attend the session you wanted to see. If you don't register, you're not going to get sent the video. So just register and you'll be golden there.
So perfect. So basically, whatever time zones you're on, you could actually watch part of it live. If you can't, for somebody who can watch the recordings, that's fantastic. So, well, thank you for doing this for the community, right? This like free event with these really big names, from Expedia to people, respected name in the industry, different topics, things we don't hear about much. Agree, burnout, it's high season now for a lot of people in the Northern Hemisphere. So burnout is real, it's happening. So it's fantastic. Dave, so once again, David, thank you so much for your time today. If people want to know more about Rent Responsibly or attend the event, what should they be doing? So
definitely, if you want to attend the event, I'm sure there will be a link in wherever you find this particular recording. It's on July 12th and 13th. So if you catch this recording after, just go to rentresponsibly.org. You can sign up there. It's also free. There's, if you go to the Alliance directory, you can find if there is already a community group in your own community. If there's not, we have guides and very high quality, easy to follow how-to guides of how to start your own. And we also support local communities with our platform. And I can explain more about that maybe the next time we talk. But go to rentresponsibly.org and you're in, and it's free.